Welcome to Incredibly Ordinary, the podcast about ordinary people with incredible stories, hosted by Lance Billings, Josh Kilsch, and Nate Reynolds from Billings Group Financial Advisors. Oh, dang.
Like it?
I like it. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
We can have another one after that one. We'll do the Angel's Envy.
That tastes really good. Where's that from?
So this one's Sedan, Kansas.
Sedan.
Yeah, yep.
Is
Sedan.
that?
I think it's down in southeast Kansas area.
Okay.
I don't know. I was on Facebook and some ad came up. And I thought, well, I'll just look at it and see. And went over there and bought it. I actually couldn't get it from my distributor, so I went over to Laura's Liquor on East Iron and purchased it. And it's not a bad deal. I mean, I think it's pretty good.
It has a unique taste.
I actually sent them an email to see if they'd come over and do a tasting with me, and they said they were too busy. So, basically.
Well,
I like that a lot.
At least
That's
a
really
rain check, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, that's got a great taste to it.
And we got Josh's famous massive ice cubes in here, too, that he likes to make from.
Right. And I appreciate that. I mean, I like the clearness in it. The balls and the squares that I make are actually cloudy. So, but I'll have to look into maybe doing something like that. It's a little bit of kind of a novelty kind of deal.
It adds a little bit of flair to it. Yeah.
But I like the clearness. I mean, it looks pretty cool.
You know how many people I'll keep a bag if I'm at the office, and I'll have clients. I'll be like, "Hey, they just want like some water, or maybe like a Waterloo carbonated water." And I'll grab our whiskey glasses and put some of those ice cubes in there and pour it in there. They're like, they're just mesmerized by the ice cube. I'm like, yeah.
It's really good. I mean, and it's pretty clear. But well, hey, we are excited. We got Eric Clayton here with us, and so our first time doing our podcast offsite at somebody else's place, and so we're at the Cellar in downtown Salina. But man, thanks for having us over here and wanting to be on the podcast with us.
For sure. I like having everything that debut here at the Cellar. That's awesome.
This is this is a sweet place. Awesome.
I appreciate it.
And so we'll talk about what kind of work you did in here, but pretty much before we get into the actual place here, what's your background? You from Salina, or?
I am from Salina. I'm a military kid, actually. My dad was in the Air Force, and I was born over in Okinawa, Japan. So, and then we lived in Wichita, I can remember, and then Russell, Kansas. And then I think I moved here when I was about 7 years old, 1977. So I'm just aging myself there a little bit. But for sure, about 1977, we moved here in Salina, and been here most of my life.
Okay, cool. And so currently right now you are an active firefighter, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that kind of what you wanted to do your entire time, or?
No. Actually, I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I was a big Franco Harris fan, and I wanted to be Franco Harris playing the NFL. I wanted to be a running back.
There you go.
But obviously, as I grew, and that kind of went out the window, and I became a lineman, whether I was a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman, and that's what I wanted to do when I was a kid.
So did you play ball here then?
I did at Salina Central.
Okay.
I played ball, and then I got a scholarship to Kansas State.
Okay. So you played under Snyder then?
Yeah, I was in his first recruit class.
How was that?
Yeah, it was awesome. He's a great guy, great mentor.
So that was kind of right when K-State sucked for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And then they started becoming a Big 12 or Big 8 then?
Yeah, we were Big 8.
Okay,
I never
8.
played in the Big 12. I was Big 8 the whole time I was there. And then we won our first bowl game in 1993, Copper Bowl.
So that was probably the first bowl game K-State won in how many years?
I think since 82.
God.
I think that's the correct year.
Okay. Yeah. Man, that's pretty. I didn't know that you were one of his first recruiting classes.
Yes, I was. Yep.
Did he come here to watch you then?
He didn't actually come. Nick Quintero, he was a specialties guy, and he came and actually got me and saw me and signed the paperwork, and there I was.
Did you play O-line there at K-State?
I did. Okay. Actually, I played D-line the first 2 years, and then I played offensive line the last two.
Well, I'm a huge Nebraska fan, and so even though I went to K-State too, but now that they're in different conferences, I can cheer for both.
Sure.
And so, but
I like Nebraska myself, man. We went up there a couple of years ago and watched a game, and their tailgates like nobody else's. It's unbelievable.
When you have that many sellouts, even when they've sucked for the past 20 years, and you can keep getting those sellouts. That's pretty impressive. Again, there is no
For sure.
NFL teams or professional teams there. So
Right,
the only
right.
thing in Nebraska to do is watch Nebraska football.
Heck yeah.
But, so you got to play against Tom Osborne then in the 90s.
Yes.
And you gotta,
Yep. For sure.
That'd be pretty sweet. So after college and after your college football career, does that come back to Salina to do?
So I went and got my degree in criminal justice, and so I was a sheriff's deputy for 6 years here in Saline County. I did my internship with the Salina Police Department, and Saline County was hiring at the time, and so I went ahead and applied and became a sheriff's deputy in 1994.
So going then from sheriff to firefighting, was that just you want a different pace, or what was?
I always thought I wanted to be in law enforcement. I was a big guy, so wasn't going to have any problems with anybody. But my brother was in it. He was a cop also, and then I don't know. The night thing kind of screwed me up. I was having a bad time at home, working nights and then being up all day, having to go to court and stuff like that. So I was just like, I got to change something, and fire department was hiring in 2000, and I thought, I'm going to try that. So I was already on the rural fire district, the volunteer side of it, for about 5 years, and then I thought, I'm going to go do the firefighter thing.
So that was in 2000?
Yes, sir.
So being 9/11 1 year later, did that have a big impact, even though we're here in Kansas? Did that have an impact, you think, on just even the local stations and looking at what we actually do? Or
I think so. I was actually on duty that day that it happened, and it was just kind of surreal. I was cleaning, and then all of a sudden the TV was on, and you could see what was going on at first, and it was just like, something happened, tragic happened, but we had no idea what it was, with the terrorists and stuff attacking the building. It was just crazy for me to fathom that was actually occurring, and then the rest of the day we just sat down and watched what was going on the TV the whole rest of the day.
Yeah. And so your brother, was he a police officer while you were a firefighter then together?
No.
Okay.
So, actually, he was actually a police officer when I was a deputy here.
Okay.
So we both, and our numbers, my number was 562, his was 462. And sometimes when we were on duty at the same time, they would call for one of us, and we'd both answer because they'd cut off the first part of it.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Right. So, but we got to work together a couple of years anyway. Together.
So is he still here in Salina then?
No, he actually lives in Washington State, and he's retired.
Okay.
Law enforcement. So
nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
And so while you're doing firefighting, then you were also a coach there here in Salina,
yes,
right?
for about 25 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Was that all at Central?
No, most of it was at Salina Central, but then I took a couple years off and went to Bethany College and coached with my brother-in-law, who's the head coach down there, Jamie Cruz.
Okay.
So did about 3 years down there. Him and Tony Johnson. Tony Johnson became the head coach, and then Jamie was the defensive coordinator, and then I became the D-line coach for a year, and then Jamie took over when Johnson left, and so I finished out a couple of years with Jamie. Yeah.
Was that just because, I know once you play it, especially probably on the college level, you probably miss the game like crazy once you get out of it? Or is it just you like coaching the kids?
And I still miss it, a little bit, but I've been blessed with being able to do what I do as far as coaching for 25 years, and then I coached some indoor also here. I was the head coach of the indoor team for a few years. And then I got to coach my son in high school, so that was pretty cool.
The indoor as the Liberty?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Bombers, Salina Bombers.
Really?
Yep.
How was that?
It was great. It was a great time. That's entertainment right there.
That's a whole different league.
A little bit of sport and a little bit of entertainment goes a long ways. It's pretty nice.
And so then you said your son played. You got to coach your son.
Yes.
Was that at South or Central then?
At Central.
Okay.
So we live in South District, and my girls went to South, and they wore all this green and gold, and my boy went to South Junior High, South Middle School, whatever you want to call it now, and I would be damned if he was going to wear green and gold in high school. I'm a Mustang. He's going to be a Mustang, and they only allowed him because I was coaching there at Central to come to Central, and he played all 4 years there, and he's a damn stud. But
awesome. That's cool.
He graduated last May, and it was unbelievable. I didn't coach him a senior year because I wanted him just to focus on the game and not me. And I was being bad dad most of the time, just watching him and not being able to focus on the other kids and coach them. So
natural.
We decided that that wasn't the best thing for me to coach him his senior year. And
What's your son's name?
Nick,
Nick.
yeah,
So is that a pretty fun? I mean, that's probably a really cool father-son experience. Kind of, hey, I mean, you watch him probably play all the years going up, and then be able to coach him. It's probably a pretty cool experience doing.
it is a pretty cool experience. Except, like I said, I'm a bad dad. I focus on him so much, to try to better him, and but he took some ribbon, and we got along, and at times.
Those are great memories, though.
Oh,
that
yeah,
are
for sure.
Forever. I mean,
Yeah,
your background being there, and then
Yep.
him being there, and that's super
for
cool.
sure.
So you got to coach under you got to coach with probably starting with Diener,
Yes.
and going up to
Yep.
Coach Hall.
Yep.
And then I'm not sure who took after Hall.
Sambo.
Okay.
Mark Sambo. I've coached for all three of those guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome though.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, Mark Sambo's the current coach there now.
Okay. And even through those years too, like the district has completely the realignment of who you guys are playing. It seems like it's ever changing, and the new playoff system with
For
like
sure.
every team gets in now. It's a whole new.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. When I played for Central, Diener was my coach. He came in my junior year, and we actually played in the I-70 League, which is Topeka, Manhattan, Junction, and all those, and Hayes, and that was a tough district then, and now it's just kind of all over the place. And you go down there to the what they call Arc Valley Chisholm Trail, and different divisions, Division I and Division II, and I'll tell you what, playing the likes of Derby, you don't want to play Derby, you don't want to play Mays. Those guys will rough you up, and it's sad. I wish Salina had one high school, because I think we could compete in every division there is if we had one high school. But Derby having one and having so many kids to choose from to play, it's unbelievable.
And I think it has been that progression because South and Central back in the early 2000s. They used to be the powerhouses back and forth
For sure.
And then
Yeah.
8, 9, 10, it started kind of going away.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm not sure if it's population areas in Wichita that started taking over. Or
Yeah, and it could have been that way. Derby's just, they've won several in the last few years, and that's about when Salina started declining. So
So are you still coaching then right now?
I'm not coaching
not?
anymore.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I've retired from coaching since.
Is that because of this place right here?
No.
No? Okay.
No. I just when my boy finished high school, I said I was not going to coach anymore.
Okay.
So
Nice. So 24 years being a firefighter, you said, right?
yes, sir.
Man, awesome. Okay. And you're still doing that.
Yes.
So what idea sparked this place right here? How'd this come about?
So this happened actually before I wanted to be a firefighter. I wanted to open a bar. My wife and I had just pretty much we only been together, married for about 3 years, and there was a bar up on Pacific that was going up for sale, and I wanted to buy it. And I asked her. I said, "Hey," one night we were laying in bed. I said, "I'm thinking about buying the bar." I said, "Well, what are your thoughts on it?" She sat there for a minute, pondered a little bit, and she's just like, "Okay, let's do that." And I said, "All right." And I slept on it. And the next morning I woke up and I was like, "That ain't gonna work." That ain't gonna work because
When was that?
That would have been in '96ish.
Okay.
And I said, that ain't going to work because she was pregnant and we were getting ready to have our first child, and there was no way that was going to fly with the family. So here I am 26 years later, and my
Getting to do it.
Yeah, and my oldest is the manager now. So
Really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep,
Now,
for sure.
Is your oldest son or daughter?
Daughter.
Okay.
Yep, I have 2 older daughters and a boy.
Okay. And so she's the manager of this place for you.
Yes.
That's awesome. So kind of a family business then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was a bit in the beginning. Everybody worked here, all my kids and my wife, and for whatever reason, sometimes we don't mesh as a family and business.
All families do that, I think.
Right. And so, 2 of them decided to go elsewhere, and the one stuck it out, and then my wife's 50% owner of the place. So.
Okay, cool.
What's your wife's name?
Leslie.
Leslie.
Yep.
And so when you're looking at, okay, timing's right to look at actually owning a bar, did COVID throw some big wrench in your guys' plans, or is it?
So this didn't even come about until, let's see, mid to early 2022 is when I started thinking about it again. I was actually doing some work with the fire department, and there's some Knox boxes, and as you can see, as you come down the steps, there's a Knox box right there on the side of the wall. And I was down here checking the keys to make sure everything worked, and I saw this building, and there was a sign in the window saying for rent. And so I thought, you know what, when I get back, I'm just going to call and see what rent is here. And so I called the guy, and I said, hey, what do you got to have for rent for that place? And he says, well, what are you putting in it? And I told him, and the rest is history.
Man. So how much of the work then here, how much of this is original? How much did you guys do? Because this place is awesome looking.
I appreciate that.
How much of work do you guys have to do to
everything.
Really?
Yeah, the only thing that was in here was this wall here that you see coming this way, and then nothing else.
What was this is a kind of like an old speakeasy kind of feel, or
I kind of wanted to go with that a little bit. I didn't want another sports bar in Salina. I'm a sports nut, but I thought I have some friends in my age. We're kind of into a little bit of wine, a little bit of bourbon, whiskey, cocktails. We like to kind of have that, but it was just that's what I wanted to go with. I didn't not necessarily a speakeasy, but I wanted to kind of like the steampunk kind of feel to it, also. And then kind of just put my own spin on it. So
yeah, I mean, one of the nice things that gives it character is obviously the name attributed to having to go down the stairs off of Santa Fe to get down here, and then, but it's got the classy feel. But then I've been in here where you've got a big group of younger folks that are just having a great time, and then some of your specials. I noticed you had a couple ladies that were really older ladies that were dressed nice and having wine together, and so it's kind of like you've got this colliding, creating a community, very very classy, but it's great drinks. And
I appreciate that. That's what I was trying to go for a little bit. Higher end or older crowd, I should say. To get in here and not
your college thing,
and not have the fights or the breakouts. And I welcome in college kids all the time. And just it's not to get rowdy, and I don't have the music bumping. I play oldies stuff, and so that's kind of my feel. That's what I like.
That was I was wondering about is like, man, when you go into opening a bar, like a bar business, that's a really saturated kind of area. It seems like how do you stick out, or how do you try? Okay, here we got a sports bar here again. Awesome places, nothing wrong with those, but how do we set ourselves apart from just another bar downtown?
Right, I think I've done that a little bit. I'm serving some wine. I'm not high dollar wine. You could buy all the wine you want at high dollar and not be able to sell it, and you still have wine. I want to be able to sell that stuff. So and then we got some handcrafted cocktails, that we do. My daughter's been in the industry for about 5 or 6 years, and she's worked down in Tempe, Arizona at a college town. And she was a bartender down there, and she came up with some cocktails that we got. And, I attribute some of those cocktails to her that she came up with, and all the bourbons and stuff. And I thought it's perfect time. Everybody's into bourbons now and stuff. And we just kind of set ourselves apart a little bit from everybody else, not the sports bar. My food is charcuterie boards, meat, cheese, crackers, fruits and stuff like that. I don't have anything hot. So, if you want a light little lunch or a little snack or something that's not heavy on you, and it's perfect for summertime. You don't want all those fried foods and all that stuff. I got meat, cheese, crackers, fruits, a little bit of bread and jellies.
One of the things that I notice from going to different speakeasies or even restaurant bars, sports bars, is just and partially, I guess it's because it's new and everything has been made new in here, but it's super clean, and in the fact that you've got bottles for beer as opposed to the draft. You don't have all that beer spilling and then kind of congealing on the floor and creating that smell. You come in and it's super classy. You can have that experience, but you're not overcharging anybody to have that experience while they're getting that high end feel.
I appreciate that. That's kind of what we went for, and we just class it up a little bit, with the high-end leather couches and some seating and stuff. And, there's a joke going around that's my wife up there on that picture. One of my daughters came in and said, "Dad, what's up with that picture?" And I said, "What?" And she just looked at it, and I go, "That's your mother." "What?"
Sure, your kids are like, oh, God, Dad.
So I was like, and I let her go on for about 5 or 10 minutes. I said, no, it's not really.
And your wife's probably like, I'm going to smack it.
Yeah. She laughed about it. So
Were you
it was
like
all good humor.
on Amazon? You're like fine art.
Yeah,
And,
I actually
this
did
is,
find it on Amazon.
Did you
Yeah,
really?
I did. So I was just kind of going with some wine pictures and stuff like that, and the pipe lighting and stuff like that. I found on Amazon and stuff like that. But
Talk about the actual bar, which we'll take a picture of it, and,
Okay.
and Nate can overlay it
Yep.
in the video. But there's how many corks underneath that glass?
honestly, I don't know. I don't know the amount. It's thousands.
It's super cool
and
looking.
I've touched every one of them. So, and everybody asked me if I drank all those bottles of wine. I don't think I could drink that many bottles of wine in my lifetime. But it's
What gave you that idea? Were you just thinking this is
man,
this would
everybody
be cool?
everybody had just some tops, and I was just like, Paramount has the penny top, Library down there has a concrete top. And then just some of those other places, they just got regular wood on their bar top, and I was just like, hell, I'm going to be a wine bar. Why don't I just put wine corks in there?
Yeah.
So I did that, and I was going to epoxy it, and then I found out the prices on epoxy, and it was like, oh, that's just a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just ended up going with plated glass on there, and that way, in case somebody breaks it or something, we can just take it off, and I can get it replaced pretty easily.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sections.
I touched every one of those corks, and none of them are new corks. Every one of them are used. And if you get up there and you can look at some of them, some people wrote stuff on them, like a happy birthday or a date on them or something like that, or a hi on them with a Sharpie.
That's
Did you
super cool.
ask people to bring in those old corks then?
No, actually, you can actually buy used corks online.
Really?
Yep. Here's all the corks right here that we've actually opened since
Really?
all the bottles that we have.
That's
since we
cool.
opened.
That is
I like it
cool.
because, again, it has the wine stain on the ends too.
Right,
You kind of
right.
see it has
All-
that
yeah.
the old.
There's a couple synthetic ones that won't really take the stain, but the
Okay.
corks actually do themselves.
Yeah.
But so the whole deal, the whole design, everything in here is my idea. I don't want to sound like I'm arrogant about it, but
No, you're proud of it.
Yeah,
I mean-
everything that I've touched in here was my idea. My wife had zero thought into it. She just knew that I was doing this, and I spent.
Did she approve?
She did approve once it got opened
Yep.
and everything. She hated the chandeliers that I got.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, and
I
I've got
love
a lot
them.
of compliments on those, and she hated them at first, but I think it's grown on her now. But yeah, for sure. I mean, it was.
You know those Edison bulbs have been in for a little while, but then what you did to them to put that around,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's adding character to it.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. So yeah.
So Eric, tell me some more about what's going on behind the bar. Any specific things that?
Okay. When we decided to build it, obviously we talked about the corks on top. I touched every one of them, and there's thousands up there. Maybe one day I'm going to have a contest to say how many corks do you think there's in
Do a
there?
drawing, a raffle. Yep.
Yeah, do a raffle on it. But no, and then for whatever reason, I just was searching the internet and just looking at some stuff, and then I thought, well, hell, why don't I just come up with some doors? And so I saw some old doors that I liked, some old wood paneling doors, and they got the old brass knobs and stuff like that on them. And I thought, well, hell, that's a good idea to let the girls hang their purses on. Everybody's got some of those hooks or whatever, to put on there to let the ladies hang their purses on there. And I thought, well, why don't I just leave the doorknobs on there and let the girls just hang their purses right off the doorknobs? So that's what I did. And I traveled to Kansas a little bit, trying to find
just
some,
like garage sales or like.
so Facebook, buy sell trade. I've been down to Wichita. Went to an antique store down there and bought a couple. And then on the way back, I was Facebooking, looking at buy sell trade, and found some places that had some doors for sale. And I went to those places. So I tell everybody that all those doors that I bought are actually old cellar doors. There you go. Hence
That
the
is
cellar,
super
right?
cool, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So there you go.
awesome.
Yeah,
And tell me about the mirror, because it's got Knob Creek on it, and it's got your
It
logo.
does. So one of my distributors, Standard Beverage, I actually had a Coors one up there originally, and then I had another bar owner come in from another local bar and said, yeah, that's not you. You're not. Coors is a great a great company, a great beverage. It's my choice. Coors Light's my favorite beer, but it said Coors on there, and the guy said, "That's not you. That's more of like a rodeo or a saloon or something like that." He said, "You need something different," and I agreed with him. And then Standard Beverage came in and said, "Hey, we'll hook you up with a mirror with your logo on it, and we have to put Knob Creek on there." So, and I like
Knob
that.
is great.
Well, Knob's kind of your
that's my
his
favorite,
go-to.
yep.
So
That is a good one. That is a good one. So I actually like it, and that's how we came up with the mirror. So the other thing I wanted to point out was my wall back here. This barrel staves here.
Okay.
These are actually whiskey barrel staves that I got out of Lincoln, Nebraska. The wife and I drove one day.
Okay, what's the company name?
Midwest Barrel Company.
That's where we got our barrels from.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Midwest Barrel Company. So
We ordered 2 barrels from them too, and
Yeah.
that's what we have at our place.
Yeah, so-
at our office.
yeah, me and the wife drove up there with a trailer, and
So
got
each
a whole
one of
pile.
these is an actual barrel,
well,
or a piece of an actual
yeah,
barrel.
a piece of an actual barrel. And when I was cutting them, they actually had the smell of the whiskey when you heated it up and everything.
wow.
But since then, it's the actual smell has gone away.
So did you buy barrels and then cut the barrels up?
Nope, they were already stacked like that
Nice.
on a pallet.
Okay.
So then I just brought them all down here, and that's the dirtiest damn work I've ever done.
when we unloaded ours, we were getting just stuff
Yeah.
all over us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
those barrels. Which I like that grime. It's kind of cool.
And I can get back here probably.
Yeah, there you go.
The char, yeah.
The
So,
charcoal, yeah.
Yep.
And then this one, this is really a cool piece. The kind of side table made out of a barrel.
Right. So a buddy of mine, Mike Asher from the Sheriff's Department, actually does a little bit of this on the side, and he actually built that for me. I saw it on Facebook, and he asked me if he could do something for me, and I said, yeah. And so we came up with that, and it's got my
Looks
logo
incredible.
on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did a really good job on it. And then I got those other 2 barrels. I have that barrel over there, and there's a barrel up there, and I got logos on them. And then
Nice.
he gets them, and then he does stuff with them. He does cabinets and tables and whatever else you can do with them. So
You gonna sell some shirts in here and stuff?
I
You got
do.
some merch?
I've done a little bit of merch, some apparel. Obviously, I have some sweatshirts and some T-shirts, and I actually bought them for the workers, and then some people started liking them and wanted them, and we just started selling a little bit here and there, and it's not really taking off. It's just what it is. If I have some extra, then I sell them. But I've got an order coming in, probably here next week. I don't have anything right now, but I got some hats and some cups and stuff like that, and I actually kind of came up with the logo myself.
It's a cool logo. I like
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, it's a good
Thank
logo.
you. So,
I like it a lot.
Thank you.
And then the ceiling, is that bronze or?
it is a copper
Okay.
copper color, and the actual design of it's called steampunk, and it's actually PVC. It's not actual tin.
Really?
So yeah, and I ordered that from the East Coast. So yeah,
I think that
worked out
ceiling
perfect.
adds so much to the contrast with the concrete floor.
I get a lot of compliments on it. I almost went black, total black on the ceiling.
Yeah.
With just some grids
Right.
and stuff. But
I'm glad he did that. I like that.
I appreciate that.
Well, you got all the lights on. Usually, you don't have all these lights on.
Right, right.
I mean, and,
Right, like the can lights
if it
that are
was
in the
black,
ceiling right
it'd be
now.
really hard to see. But
Right.
when you have your lighting the way it is,
Right.
it gives that cool,
Yeah.
sophisticated feel to it.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah. I tell you what, I put that ceiling up twice. The first time it was crooked.
Really?
And so I was really
I-
mad. I came in one day and I was like,
Tomorrow we're
work.
gonna.
Yeah, if you look real close, there's some flaws in it, but
Is it just screwed in, or
actually, I glued every one of them, and then they started
you didn't
some
take,
of the
you
some.
didn't take it off? Then you glued it.
Yep. And then some of the even since then, some of the glue has come off and they've fallen down a little bit. So then I take some screws and I stick them up in the corner right there, the 4 corners, to try to hold it up. So
Stabilize, yeah.
yeah, I probably got about half of it screwed off right now. So in the next 4 years, I'll probably have the rest of them screwed off.
So when you were thinking about getting this place opened up and get it actually, okay, I have the idea, I want to go forward with it. Did you put some feelers out there with your buddies of like, hey, if I were to do this, would there be enough business to come to, you think?
I did. Actually, I have a good friend of mine that works at the sheriff's department, and I was talking to him about it, and he's a wine connoisseur, and he thought that was a great idea. Him and his wife thought it was a great idea, and I asked a couple other guys, and and they were all like, yeah, that's really, really good. And, and they've come and frequent my bar, and they're kind of regulars now. And I wish I had more regulars.
Yeah. You'll get some more. Yep.
All right.
I just don't think people know where it's at. And I think hey, the more you're here, the more people talk about it.
So, that's kind of another issue that I've been dealing with is, what do I do to get people coming in the door and stuff like that? And I try to have a great happy hour, the $2 domestics, the $3 wells. And
that's amazing.
And my wells are not the cheap wells. I have Jack Daniels, Tanqueray, Jose Cuervo, Bacardi. It's none of that McCormick stuff, and I got Tito's vodka. So I'm getting all the good wells, and I'm trying to get those people in the door. And that's $3 wells,
That's crazy
on my happy hour.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And having the signage outside, I really can't put anything on the building per my landlord, which is okay. And it kind of gives it more of a speakeasy feel with that. And like I said, I wasn't really trying to be the speakeasy kind of guy, but I think it gives that kind of that little ambiance of being a speakeasy. Nobody knows where it's at, but then here's the secret, if we go by the sign, then it's down the stairs. So I don't know. And I'm on the Facebook thing, but social media. But other than that, I'm not on the radio advertiser or anything like that. And I don't feel like I need to right at this moment, but maybe that's something down the road we can look into.
Yeah. And so when you're kind of getting the idea of it, was it a big learning curve on all the state licenses and all that kind of stuff? Of here's what you have to have.
Hell yes, I'm still learning. I'm learning every day as we go.
Or you're like getting your distributors and there's like, there's this whole, I have this awesome idea. Here's all the legal process.
Right. And, and everybody was talking to me about the liquor license, and I was like, okay. They were like, it's going to take about a couple months to get your liquor license. So I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and start getting it early, just to. If it's going to take me a couple months, I better figure it out. Well, it actually only took me about 10 working days to do the paperwork, and then they send it back, and I do some corrections on it, and then get it going forward. And then so about 10 days to get my license. It wasn't too bad.
Isn't that amazing? Just sometimes the cliche of the mindset, just kind of like the discouragement. Don't even try. Don't even where it's like you go and you put in the effort, and then it actually was easier than that, even though there are those obstacles and there are those growing pains. When you said you're still learning, it reminds me of when we interviewed Stan over at Marquette for the distillery. Is like that's if you're doing something that you love to do, and if it's going to be good, you're gonna encounter that uphill battle, but it's worth it. And then there's times where the people that are making those cliche statements, it's like it's actually people are whining instead of just getting it done,
Right. And, I have a lot of people come up to me and ask me if do you love it or, you like it? And I say I'm about 80-20. 80% of the time I love it, I'm doing it. 20% I hate it. And the reason I hate it is because I wear many hats here. I am the chef, I'm the janitor, I'm the boss, I'm the HR, I'm everything. So, that's the 20% I hate about
small business, right?
Right.
But you're keeping your costs down. That's a big thing.
I'm trying to,
and
for sure.
Again, I think, like you said, the word keeps getting out about your happy hour. I mean, now, Bud Light not want to serve that anymore because of all the junk going on.
Yeah, you're talking about having to try to get rid of high-end wine. I don't think that's going to be your problem. I think the Bud Light might be
screwed
more of a
themselves.
challenge.
Right.
Know your client base.
Yep, I've served one since we've started that. So.
Won't be me. So,
but you've got Yingling. I've had a couple of Yingling in here, and that's just. I guess
they have capitalized huge on the whole controversy.
Yes.
And with what they've been doing and doing a lot of.
But it's a great beer too. I mean,
it's the oldest brewery in America, right? Yeah.
Yes. And I use that. That's one of my domestics. That's a $2 beer for you guys to come in on.
That's amazing, and it's
Thursdays and Fridays, 4 to 7 is our happy hour. So
is that Wednesday through? So what hours are you guys open?
So Wednesday through Saturday, 4 to midnight, and Wednesday and Thursdays kind of hit and miss whether or not we stay open until midnight.
Okay.
If the crowd's dying down and there's nobody come in for a while, we'll close. I think we closed about 10 o'clock last night, but and then our happy hours Thursdays and Fridays, 4 to 7.
Okay.
So.
And so you guys are looking at kind of getting more. You mentioned that you've had a couple of live bands in here. Is that kind of something
we've had the one?
more?
We had the one last month, and we're getting ready to have one this Saturday. Ghost Town Revival, local band. They're going to make their Salina debut down here again. So I've had 2 bands to make their Salina debut back to back. So we're looking forward to them.
That's probably how you can do some more of your marketing too, is to try and get their followers to like your area where they're playing at. And are you guys able to, and I'm not sure if you're able to do this with like a local distillery or a local brewery, can you host certain events? Like if you were to, I know I'm not saying do it, but the one up in Washington, Kansas, the Life Coach or something like that.
Right.
Can you like host certain things with local groups and try and get crowds?
That's one of those things that I'm trying to learn.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you can do that or not.
Right. And I've always been told it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. We might be able to go that route. I don't know for sure.
Maybe not the government when they get involved, they'll screw you over.
Right.
But yeah,
for sure.
I don't know, and so have you guys made? You mentioned your daughter with her cocktails. Have you guys made your own? Like, hey, here's our own special cocktails.
We haven't really just have a name brand for the cellar. We've had people come in and have the old fashions, and they love the old fashions and our handcrafted margaritas.
You guys do the smoked old fashions?
I actually just got me a smoking kit to do that. Yeah, and I haven't had anybody order one yet.
Really?
So, yeah, but I've had a couple myself, and I think they're pretty good. But other than that, we don't really have a signature cocktail that just the cellar cocktail. We just kind of just come up with whatever she's done in the past at some other places. So
when I was Josh and I, this might be kind of embarrassing to say, I don't care, but last year we were looking at, we should go online and get our own bartending degree. Remember that? We were looking at classes online.
I found this site that was like, it'd be cool, just get a certificate in making cocktails and learning about drinks. And so I showed it to Nate, and then I think it was actually full. It was
like a year out before you could even back into it.
You could only get on the waiting list, but it was a reputable, like the #1, learn how to make cocktails.
Right.
But we were just kind of sitting there nerding out, like this would be kind of fun.
We were looking that up, and I was like, I'm just trying to look up some random like cocktails that are known like state by state by state. And again, I don't even know if this website's even live or if it was a fake blog, but it said that the Kansas drink is called the horse feather, and it was a Moscow Mule, but you replace it with bourbon.
Yeah, I think I actually read that myself.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, again, it was the same website that said that ranch water was the drink of choice for cowboys in the 1800s.
Right.
But I don't think it was invented till like 1980. And so I was like, I'm not sure how true his website is.
Maybe it was something different that they called ranch water for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know if you heard of the horse feather or not.
I'd heard the horse feather. I tell you what, I don't know if this is actual drink or not, but I actually decided one day I was going to have orange Jameson and ginger beer, and it's the best damn mule I've ever had.
I did the ginger, and I did.
And I'm not a mule guy.
Really?
I'm not either. But I did the ginger beer, and I think it might have been Bullet or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I put some lime stuff in there, and it was really good. I was like, man, all right, if this is Kansas drink, I like it.
For sure.
My wife and I just went to Nashville last week, and got to go to the Red Phone booth, which I told you about, which I just think that's one of the coolest places. But we went to this other place, and I can't think of the name of it now, but on the menu was a bacon old fashioned. And so what they did was for their charcuterie boards, they would take the bacon fat, grease, and they would mix it with like a whole bottle of Four Roses.
Okay.
And then they would freeze it. So the bacon fat and then when they freeze it, all the fat rises to the top and they scoop that off. So it's called bacon or fat washed bourbon.
Oh yeah. And
so then they would make this, and I wasn't brave enough to try it, but the guy that was the mixologist, he super cool guy, and he was letting us taste some things, and he brought me over some of the Four Roses that had been bacon washed, and it truly surprised me because after I tasted that, I'm like, I should have ordered one. Right. So next year, right? But it had this hint, but it was just when you think of bacon I think of the Jim Gaffigan bit where he's just talking about everything bacon, but it really did make it that Four Roses small batch with the bacon fat is like, I would have never thought. And of course all the fat comes off of it, so it's just been kind of
just infused kind of.
Yeah, it's an infusion. And I was so surprised how good it tastes just by itself. And so next year we'll have to try because the challenge, my wife always likes the fruity stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, but you don't want to pay for a drink and then she's like, I don't like it, because I would power through it. I'd be like, I don't like it, but I paid for it, so we're drinking it.
Right.
And she's like, I end up drinking her drink,
Right.
But that's why she sticks with the wines. But that bacon Four Roses, that's I'm gonna have to try it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Going back to that, getting your bartender license or whatever. I'm not even a licensed bartender myself. When I started this thing, I thought, hell, I can open some beers and I can make some, I can make some Jack and Cokes,
Yep.
But it's more in depth than what I thought it was going to be, and that's why my daughter's in here and she's managing, and she come up and we got some great bartenders. Our staff is I put them up against anybody here in Salina.
That's awesome.
Making drinks, and so
I think that's why we were looking at doing that, just trying to learn more cocktail recipes. Just like, okay, what's the best way to make this or that?
Right.
Which I don't even know if there's a science to it. It's probably more of an art. It's just like you get your own, you figure out your own ingredient for it, and you just stick with that.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
More experimental. So your daughter was a bartender in Arizona for 5 years. You said, okay.
Yep.
Did she go to college down there?
No, she was
Okay.
just down there living
Okay.
with some friends. But
Okay.
she didn't spend the whole 5 years down there. She worked at a couple bars here in Salina also before I opened up this one. So.
Well, yeah, again, you look at Tempe, Arizona. You're probably getting a whole lot of experience bartending there.
Yep.
And then coming back here, it's
Yep.
probably a whole different ballgame.
Oh, for sure.
More low key, but
Yeah.
learn a lot from that.
Right.
So you guys opened in November, you said, of
did.
2022.
Yes.
Okay. And do you guys do group events? Like if someone wanted to do a group event down here, or have you guys looked at that?
So, yes, we've kind of put it out there that we're able to, you can rent the place if
Okay.
you want to. We haven't had any takers on it yet. We've had a couple groups in here have like a birthday party, a retirement party. We actually have a gal that comes in and they do a stamp deal on once a month now. And she has a group of 6 or 8 ladies, and I think it's called Diane's Dazzling Diamonds or something like that. And they make cards and stuff, and she's actually coming in here on the 18th of May, and for her 3rd time, I believe it would be.
Oh, nice. Okay.
They bring us 6 or 8 people, and we get a special cocktail for them on for that evening, and they sit over there and they do their little crafts for 2 hours, and then they're out. And so some of the girls have never been down here before. There's an older group, and some of them come back. So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
So has this become pretty much your entire baby then? Like instead of retirement, this is your retirement? Will this be your retirement?
It will be for a little bit. I haven't decided when I'm going to retire yet from the fire department. I can go next year if I want to, but I might stick it out a little bit longer. I've just been promoted to captain at the firehouse.
What firehouse?
So I'm at Station 1 right now, across from the library.
Okay.
Headquarters.
Nice.
I
Awesome.
call it headquarters.
Okay, perfect.
But I haven't decided yet. And then after, I have a 4-year lease here, and then after the 4-year lease, we're either going to leave the doors open and my daughter's going to run it, and we're going to get out of here, or we're going to close up shop and maybe somebody else can take the reins of it, and we're going to head down south.
And so I'm going to kind of pivot back to the fire department then.
Sure.
You just made captain, you said.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
How's that world here in Salina?
Well, it's not Chicago.
Yeah.
For sure, or New York. We run way more EMS calls than we do fire calls.
Okay.
But when we do have calls, we have some good ones. I was on the rescue truck for a couple of years, and heavy rescue. And when we have an accident here, we have the 2 major highways. One I-70 and then 135 coming through here. And when they have a wreck, we have some good ones. I say good ones. None of the wrecks are good, but they're labor intensive sometimes. And within the last 6 months, I've had several extrications.
Wow.
Every firefighter has to be EMT trained. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there certain levels of it, or like here's the base level, and then if you want to become more of an EMT skilled
So yes, they have different levels on the EMT level, but most of our guys are just the basic EMT.
Okay.
There's a couple other ones that can start IVs, and they're advanced EMTs. And then we have our paramedics, and then there's different levels on the paramedics. Paramedic 1, 2, and 3, just different training and more intensive training. And then that's all we have.
Okay. So is every time an ambulance is called, does a fire truck have to go out there with it then?
Not necessarily. There's some certain things that would call a fire truck out with the ambulance.
Okay.
And tow. So.
Do you guys ever work then with the rural county fire department, the volunteer one?
We do a lot, especially with, the county pays a portion of the ambulance fees that we have tax-wise, and so the ambulance goes out and does the county calls that we have out there, if somebody's sick or whatever, and then the wrecks obviously, and then the rescue truck goes out on the wrecks also. So we do that.
Have you guys ever had to fight any? I know like a couple years back we had really bad grass fires. Is that something that the actual city department will help out with? Is that more county?
That's more of a county deal.
Okay.
We fight some grass fires in town.
Gotcha.
That we've a yard or a bigger lot that's on fire. We've actually been over to Lakewood a couple of times with somebody started a fire in the little tree area that they got over there, and but most of the time we're just doing the city stuff.
Okay, nice, cool,
Yep.
Nice. Well, good, man. That's awesome that you got promoted to captain. Congrats.
Appreciate
on that.
that.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So I have a dumb question.
Go ahead.
You mentioned about, we've got I-70 and 135
Yes.
wrecks that happen there. So electric vehicles, is there a special special thing with those? Because, I've seen the articles or whatever that, putting a fire out for an electric vehicle is not easy or can't be done by water or shouldn't be, or I don't know.
That's correct.
I just was,
when we've been fortunate enough not to have any of those electrical wrecks or electrical vehicle wrecks or on fire a whole lot. It's just there is some special training for it, and on extrication and stuff. You don't want to cut, the actual power to them, the big power to their battery pack. And you're correct on putting out the fire. We do have some foam and stuff like that will help with the extinguishment, but other than that, we haven't had anything major as a fire or a wreck with any of the.
it just seems like the next
vehicles.
generation of firefighters, if there's that much volume of
Right.
electric vehicles, out on the road,
Right.
maybe the AI will help avoid wrecks or something. But I don't know. I was curious about that.
Right, and I am too. And down the road, and it'll be beyond my time of being a firefighter. I don't know. I think our grid system won't be able to handle all the electrical stuff that we think that we're going to be able to
Not
put
at
in
all.
place.
Or they're going to, which is probably what they're going to do, is distribute it. It's not make more of it, but
Right.
who gets how much. And we
Okay, do
appreciate
you have any more questions or anything like that? I mean,
I think we should plan to do another one.
Yeah.
Down
I wanna
the
do another
road
one.
and just touch base on how small business is going in Salina, Kansas for
Okay.
you, and and follow the
Right.
progression of your story and your business and
Right.
retirement.
Right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming down, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing this. I had no idea what to expect.
We didn't either. Again, we have this podcast. We still don't know what we're doing. We just hit up a mic and we talk to people.
I'll tell you what, I want to promote downtown Salina. I think every business down here is a great business, and whether you're visiting my place or you're visiting Martinelli's, Barolo's, Prickly Pear, come down and enjoy Salina. They've done a great upgrade to Salina with the art and everything down here in downtown. Honestly, right now, within the last 5 to 7 years, I think Salina downtown has really taken off, and that's why I'm glad to be a part of it right now. And it's good for business, and it's everybody else. Come down not just to see me, come see everybody else down here. They deserve your business, and come enjoy it. Everybody's got their own niche, and come enjoy it. Come enjoy downtown Salina.
Awesome place here. We really appreciate you having us
Appreciate it.
here.
Thank
This
you
is
so much.
super cool place.
So if you have not tried the Cellar in Salina, Kansas, on downtown Santa Fe, you need to come down here. You're on social media. You're on Facebook.
Yes,
And
just Facebook.
okay.
Yep.
And go ahead and say your hours again, what your hours are again.
So we're located at 134 South Santa Fe, Suite B200 in the basement,
Okay.
a cellar.
Yep.
And we're open Wednesday through Saturday, 4 to midnight.
Well, we're
Come check it out.
Thank you for listening to Incredibly Ordinary. If you want to hear more stories like the one you heard today, be sure to click the follow button so you can be notified when new episodes become available. For more information about today's episode, or if you have an amazing story to share, or want to feature your business on Incredibly Ordinary podcast, then we want to hear from you. Find our contact details in today's show notes and get in touch. Content here is for illustrative purposes and general information only. It is not legal, tax, or individualized financial advice, nor is it a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any specific security or engage in any specific trading strategy. Results will vary. Past performance is no indication of future results or success. Market conditions change continuously. This commentary reflects the personal opinions, viewpoints, and analysis of Billings Group. It does not necessarily represent those of RFG Advisory, Private Client Services, their clients, or their employees. This commentary should not be regarded as a description of advisory services provided by Billings Group, or RFG Advisory, or performance returns of any client. The views reflected in the commentary are subject to change at any time without notice. Securities offered by registered representatives of Private Client Services, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered by investment advisory representatives of RFG Advisory, a registered investment advisor. Private Client Services, Billings Group, and RFG Advisory are unaffiliated entities. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where RFG Advisory and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. No advisory services may be rendered by RFG Advisory unless a client agreement is in place.